Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 20th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was a mixed bag, but let's just get right into it. Let's dive in. I will say, I'll start off saying I got a good night's rest, so I'll take that. We got up, we got suited and booted, got ready to go to work. Work was the usual busy, the usual crazy. I will say, though, I got in and it was immediately a close call because the crusher was like, I could already tell, like, oh, someone's cooked here. The crusher's almost full, like, which means that they just hadn't come to do the pickup, which means, one of two things, listeners know, either they're late or they're not coming today. So I was hoping that they were just late. And sure enough, I think maybe an hour into my shift, right around that time, they show up. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's great. We keep working, we keep trucking along, and I take my first break. And I had this weirdly annoying moment with, one of the topsiders, the topsider, really. And, they had came up to me. I'm at the coffee area, making my little free coffee. And I will say, though, a little food and beverage here. We did a change past month or two ago to the cups, right? And this is going to seem like a really dumb, asinine thing. Like, why are you mentioning this? Why are you bringing this up? Well, I normally don't. But now that I'm like thinking about it out loud, I want to talk about these damn cups. We normally have styrofoam little cups, right? That's what we've had for years since I've worked here. Who cares? Whatever. That's awesome. I don't give a shit. But I'd always have to use like 2 to get the amount I wanted. So much so that became like my brand. Like people would come up and ask me like, hey, why do you have 2 cups? What's up with that? And I'm like, it's just more liquid. Like, I don't know. I can carry more liquid with 2 cups. Duh. But, so we swapped cups and now we have these bigger, like 12-ounce Dixie cups. They're a bit thicker. They got a little, a little artsy whatever stuff on them. But I like them anyway. So I'm pro the new change. I'm pro that. But anyway, I'm over here making my free shitty coffee. And someone just starts asking me questions about the crusher. And of course, my drone head ass is just going to start answering. And I'm like, oh yeah, things are okay. And they ask like, when did they come? And I said 10 o'clock and I looked at the clock and realized that's just not right. What am I talking about? Who am I talking to? And I see that it's the supervisor and I'm like, 9. They came at like 9. And he goes, oh, okay, good. And then we just, we part ways. But I was just like, why are you asking this on my break, dude? Like, whatever, fine. I proceed to get on about my day. Everything is fine. Like there really wasn't any hiccups, any problems. I will say though, I was surprised because I was thinking we'd have a little bit more time before the crusher filled up. I'm talking to my secondary and I'm like, okay, well you might have a little bit more time tonight on it. But sure enough, I come back from my break and the crusher is filled. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep hammering on. And, I think also at some point, this is a fun little interaction. I think this is before my last break, but one of the leads and then the same topsider supervisor, they're making like a walk around or whatever, and they want to come and check on the crusher. And the lead comes up to me and I already know that they want to be on some chummy shit. They want to be on some funny shit. And like, I don't even know if they had the dap up and ready, but I just like give them like the side high and I just don't look at them for the remainder of it. Cause technically it's like, I don't have a problem with this specific person, but they're just as greasy as all the other ones. They have the same thing. In fact, if I really like peel and back into my mind palace, I think about times where this is like a person who's like giving me a scarf and like a cool little neck scarf and like gloves and it's like, oh yeah, real homie shit. I got this for Christmas, it's like, damn, you spent money on the team like that? That's really cool. It's really thoughtful. Thank you so much. But this is also a guy who was like, hey, I want to fill the other crusher with cardboard. And it's like, hey, don't do that. And then he goes over our heads. So it's like, this is that lead. And I'm just like, dude, you guys are all the same right now to me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to fuck with you. And like, they just come and they check the pressure gauge and they bounce. And I'm like, that's what y'all should be doing, I guess. Fine. Just don't bother me, dude. Just like, leave me alone. And I think we'll be good. So, luckily there was no problems. There was no dust ups, but I just hate the tension, dude. It is so frustrating. And this happens every year, but this year I have the worst taste in my mouth. And so I'm just looking at management like they're just ops, so it just is what it is. The peak beef arc continues, but overall the workday was good. The workday was solid. We got done. We got through it. So get done with work, hop in my car. Where do you think we're going? We're going to the motherfucking gym. And I was ready to get a pump, but I noticed as I was driving, I don't know if you guys do this, but I always look at my lights in the reflection of another car. So like the car in front of me, right? And so I don't know why I'm anxious and weird about it, but if I don't see both the lights, I immediately assume something's wrong. I've been doing this especially with this car, but more times than not, there's nothing wrong. Like it's just, a bad angle. Like this isn't how you should be equating whether your lights are on. You're being weird. And this time though, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm being weird today. I think there's something wrong. I need to actually go check. And as I'm pulling into the gym, I hop out, I look, I'm like, God damn it, my main headlight, it's out. And I'm like, fuck me. So, I hop back in my car and I'm like, I know I could get my pump. I could just say whatever, fuck it, it's no big deal. But, shit, the way my skin tone is, the way my skin color is, I like having these things taken care of, sorted, so that no one has an extra reason to pull my ass over. So I'm like, no, let's go to Advanced AutoZone, because I immediately flashed back to last year. If I'm not mistaken, this was 2024 when this happened, right? Yeah, it had to be, because it was the old car. And I remember the Hyundai went out, the headlight went out, and I was like, frick, what am I going to do? So I go to Advanced Auto, and I remember it was me literally saying, hey, I need a new headlight. Can one of you guys put it in? And like this young, like teenager, like, yeah, I can do it. And, it's just the two of us out. It's getting dark. It's colder. I think it was not quite winter, but it was like getting colder. And I'm just like, I'm feeling so bad because it's just like, I should have not had this kid do this, but I can't do it and I need him to do it. And we got it done. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen again. I'll be lucky if they actually help me with the install here. I mean, maybe I could, roll for charisma and make it happen, but I don't think I'm going to get my wish granted here. So I pull up and, I go in there and sure enough, they, say, hey, we got the light bulb. The guy was nice enough. He's like, hey, I'll give you some gloves. Here's some, a little grease or whatever. I think I paid a little bit extra for that, like $1 or something. But, you coat it up, you gave me a quick rundown in terms of installing it, but I really had to lean on the YouTube. And it was just me for about 5-10 minutes struggling to get, because it was very easy. You just had to turn the socket, pull it out, swap out the light bulb, put it in. The only real worrying thing you have to be really careful of is you didn't want your fingers to touch the light bulb, right? You didn't want to, fuck with that because your oils would fuck up the light, and you needed to make sure that it was, in there nice and tight, fastened normal. But, as long as you're twisting it in, everything's good. But my problem was I couldn't get it to I tried to unhook it and I'm like, okay, well, let's rehook this old one before we put in the new one. And I just couldn't get it. And then eventually I was like, let me just run back the video again and pay more attention. This is always a thing I have to do. I always have to watch the thing 2 or 3 times, then try to do it, then watch it again, and then I usually get it. And I was like, okay, I'm just not twisting it in properly. That's what's making this not, work. And then I get it, swap it out. We have light. Let there be light. And I was feeling like a right mechanic. Okay, Jiffy who? So yeah, I was like, now what are we gonna do? And I'm like, we're gonna go get that pump, baby. We got to get that lick. So we go back to Planet Fitness, and I do a modified workout. It was pretty busy yet again, and I was no Smith machines when I initially come in. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna do a double set on the free weights circuit set, whatever I'm calling it. I don't know, but so I do those, get done, and then I see that a Smith machine was open. And I'm like, look, I already know I'm not doing a full day anyway. So let's just get the Smith machine sets in. Let's do some core work. And then we'll do 15 minutes of cardio again. So I more or less did that. Plus, I got some time on the leg press too. So I got that in. So yeah, a bit lighter of a workout. I want to say maybe I got like an hour tops, maybe. But it was good. It was solid. It's definitely fitting this phase, this year that we're kind of doing, where it's like, look, overall my workouts are the same. I'm hitting it hard. I'm hitting it, the way I want to, but I am going to just have days where I don't, go as long. Or, you just have maintenance days, you're not hitting it as hard, and that's okay. Still trying to give myself that pat on the back, that grace, like, it's all right. Like, it's okay to value your time, because at the end of the day, it's what I wanted to do. I'm still running behind because there's more day to cover. So post the gym, I get home, and I don't know if I'm just feeling anxious. I don't know if it's just the control freak in me. I was just like, I really want to cut my hair. I really want to cut my hair now, like right now. And I did that. So I cut my hair, and of course it's the middle of winter, or not middle of winter. Oh my God, is it still fall? I think it's still fall, y'all. Ew. I mean, I love fall, but not at this point. We're gearing up for winter, and I just want winter to be over. I want to be over and done. But we've not even begun. But yeah, no, I cut my hair. I think it went well. We'll see. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, But it always feels good. It feels very freeing. I feel like, especially in the winter, it's the temptation to let it grow longer is always higher, but I just hate how I look. Oh, especially with the gray hairs. Like, I'm getting little gray hairs, not even like good dignified like chunks, just little random strays. It's like, yeah, this is 30, all right. This is giving 30s. But yeah, cut my hair, and also a little bit of snack. I did get some Oreos, and I crushed up like 2 of them, ate 1 of them, and then, put that in the whole nut cup. So yeah, that was very decadent. But yeah, that's been my day. That's been the whole kit, the whole caboodle. Let's go ahead and take our startup, and let's get into some news. This time of year. Man. I have some friends who love this time of year. Actually, they love the cold, they love the winter. Or I have, the friends who are just so holiday coded. They're just so ready for Christmas and all that. And I love that for them. This is their time to shine. But this is not mine. This is one of those where I wish I could just time skip. Could I just time skip to the end of December where I have my bonus and like, I don't know, it's not as busy, because that's what I want. That's what I want for me. And because ever since I got into the workforce, I've always been in a job where this time of the year sucks. You know what I mean? Whether you're gearing up for Black Friday or you're gearing up for Christmas, it's just not a fucking fun time. But I mean, hey, that's what I get for basing my livelihood around retail in some capacity. Man, survival is a motherfucker. Anyway, let me keep on going with the startup. Sorry, I'm kvetching. Okie dokie. Our first story is from the Associated Press. U.S. Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick of Florida indicted on charges of stealing $5 million in disaster funds. Ooh, I'm moving in slow motion. U.S. Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick of Florida has been indicted on charges accusing her of stealing $5 million in federal disaster funds and using some of the money to aid her 2021 campaign, the Justice Department said Wednesday. The Democrat is accused of stealing federal emergency management money, or also FEMA, overpayments, management agency overpayments that her family health care company had received through a federally funded COVID-19 vaccination staffing contract. Federal prosecutors said a portion of the money was then funneled to support her campaign through candidate contributions, prosecutors allege. Using disaster relief funds for self-enrichment is a particularly selfish, cynical crime, Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a statement. No one is above the law, least of all powerful people who rob taxpayers for personal gain. We will follow the facts of this case and deliver justice. Now, look, if this was like, the type of shit that Pam Bondi was on all the time, we would maybe be giving her flowers. But no, that's not what Scam Blondie is on, which is also crazy for her of all people to be talking like this. No one is above the law? Look in the mirror. Anyway, I also want to say, too, that line is so tired from her, just in general. Like, this is just her Kamehameha wave when she's, like, up in front of a podium. And look, we all have them. I got my little gimmicks. I got my little things. I say mea culpa and shit. But, like, come on, man. Once again, she's getting paid real fucking money to do this shit, by the way. It's not like she's doing this for the love of the game, because she loves justice. I wish. That'd be so cool. Anyway, a phone message left at Cherfilus-McCormick's Washington office was not immediately returned. Cherfilus-McCormick was first elected to Congress in 2022 in the 20th District, representing parts of Broward and Palm Beach counties, in a special election after Representative Alcee Hastings, I think it's Alcee Hastings, died in 2021. In December of 2024, a Florida state agency sued a company owned by Cherfilus-McCormick's family, saying it overcharged the state by nearly $5.8 million for work done during the pandemic and wouldn't give the money back. Excuse me. The Florida Division of Emergency Management said it made a series of overpayments to Trinity Healthcare Services after hiring it in 2021 to register people for COVID-19 vaccinations. The agency said it discovered the problem after a single $5 million overpayment drew attention. Cherfilus-McCormick was the CEO of Trinity at the time. The Office of Congressional Ethics said in a January report that Cherfilus-McCormick's income in 2021 was more than $6 million higher than in 2020, driven by nearly $5.75 million in consulting and profit sharing fees received from Trinity Healthcare Services. Yeah, dude, good job. Good job. They never would have guessed. They never were going to see it. It was so well hidden. White collar crime. Which leads me to, I guess, the point I kind of just want to make about this. I find that it's very funny, or a cruel kind of funny, a cruel kind of irony, a bit of something we can laugh about now is like, I feel like we talk and cover, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I think more about the scams and the schemes of COVID-19 more so than I think about the actual moments these days. Because I remember back then, I can't remember, we started the podcast, and I do say we, not just the royal we, back in the day, the now and then era. It was 2021. It was like May, if I'm not mistaken. So, we were fresh off of that. And I remember the energy. I remember it being very dark. I remember, at least for a couple weeks, and this is being dramatic, especially from, hindsight 2020, especially from now, I was like, man, this is like giving into the world, dude. Like, are we really be going outside? But like in Ohio, really, it was like you only felt that way for maybe a few days because they were telling you that you were an essential worker, like for pretty much every and all jobs. And then I remember I was literally driving up to a nursing home job that I had taken. And that was a whole arc for, I think, about a week. but yeah, it was just crazy times. And I remember like the streets were so open and so free. But I mean, there were still people out there. There was the trucks and all this stuff. And then slowly but surely, more and more people just kind of kept coming up and all that, right? Like that was a whole other time. And nowadays, we're just kind of sorting through the debris of how much money do people take? Can we retrieve it? Can we recover it? Like that is more of the conversation these days, which I guess is better. I'm not gonna lie to you. The vibes are. I much prefer some fucking crime, some fraud. You know what I mean? As opposed to the doldrums of like, do I have my mask and the glove? Oh my gosh! Now that I'm thinking about it, it's just taking me back. I remember door dashing for the first time post COVID. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Crazy times, icky times. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and move along. I just wanted to cover a scam goddess real quick, and we'll see if there's any more outcome or whatever. Oh, also speaking of scams, this is just coming to me. I literally like it's brain blasting in because I just saw the headline. I'm pretty sure Proswell, he just got sentenced to 14 years in prison. I might be getting that number wrong. I'm not pulling that, but Proswell from the Fugees. He had a whole scam. I'm just thinking about scams right now, and I'm like, oh shit, they just said, Proswell, you going to jail for a while, brother. And I'm like, uh oh. Well, let me see if I can just look that up. Sorry, you're just gonna have to bear with me. Pros sentencing. Boom. 14 years. Oosh. Praj Michel. Yeah. So yeah, bummer if you're a Fugees enjoyer. And I only say that in regards to the fact that it's like bummer that it's all come to this. It's all culminated to this. But I have a long-standing rant that if you really want to press the button or pull the string, I could get into about. Let's look at it this way and just be honest about it. All three of the motherfuckers from the Fugees are scammers. They just are. They, in one shape or another, they've all scammed in major, massive ways. And I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I'm gonna just close that out and get back to road. Let me take a water break. I was like, that popped up, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna cover it for the week, and we'll just say we did. All right. From ABC News. 3 Chinese nationals charged with smuggling NVIDIA HP chips to China. 3 Chinese nationals were charged with smuggling NVIDIA and HP products to China, according to charges unsealed by the Justice Department on Thursday. Starting in September of 2023, Hong Ning-ho, Brian Raymond, Cham Lee, and Ching Chen allegedly exported chips to China. The Justice Department alleges that the 3 Chinese nationals and 1 American were involved in a scheme to ship these chips to third-party countries, Thailand and Malaysia, that would be then shipped to China. The men allegedly set up a shell company to purchase these products. The Commerce Department has banned China from acquiring these chips. That's that competition, baby. We gotta block ya. But yeah, then they just do that, and it's like, uh-oh. The Justice Department also alleges that the men discuss ways to evade United States export laws and regulations. In exchange for these chips, the men received kickbacks for their alleged work. In total, the men allegedly smuggled hundreds of chips to China. And I mean, hey, what can I say? If you're gonna make these weird prohibitions on technology of all things, you can't be surprised when nation states do in-runs around it. Like, so it goes. And I'm sure this isn't the only rat hole that they're using to get chips and to continue this whole digital arms race or whatever that we are literally. We're racing to do AI. Like, this is so dumb. It's so gross. I am actually glad I'm taking another aside here just to kind of just rant a bit. Because I have been chomping at the bit to just want to talk about AI and just how, the stakes have gotten so high and it's so fucking bad. The idea that we are all in on this technology and we're saying well, what is it going to do for us? And Sam Altman will paint this really beautiful picture and we're going to be able to do so many crazy things, but it's no, but dollars to donuts, what is it going to do for us? And then they kind of don't have a real answer. It's just kind of the stuff that we're doing right now. And I mean, yeah, you could say that it's hey, to start clerical things and this and that, this is really useful. It's really helpful. But so far, it's just something that we are sinking and burning a lot of fucking money into. So much so that we're also saying we need to now give up these jobs and really lean and bank on this idea that we are going to be able to replace people with AI because we just can't afford it. Not to mention, this AI is just a money pit. Like, and we are really having the conversation about, is this a bubble? Is it not? Like, that has been like kind of the question of the week. And a lot of it, since and this is kind of branching off of the whole NVIDIA part of this article, it's got me like saying, I'm going to take the time. Apparently they had a really good evaluation. Once again, I'm just pulling this with no headline, but, they're saying, hey, we did amazing this quarter. We're making a lot of fucking money on these chips, the chips that you need to make AI. People are buying and we are selling, baby. And they added, we are looking good for months to come. The next quarter is looking also good, even better. And it's like, okay, great. You guys are one of the flagships. Everyone's leaning on you. This is the whole picks and shovels, like for the gold or whatever. Like, you guys are it for this AI race. Awesome. You're still making money, but you're also starting to see cracks where it's like investors are once again asking that question, when are we really going to make our money? When are we really going to make our payback? Because we're talking all these data centers that everyone's booing us about because it's just sucking up all of this electricity and all these resources. Like it's just fucking like draining the water and just turning it brown. Like I equate it to like, I love just turning things into video game references, but in Legend of Zelda, you had Hyrule, and it was like this beautiful kingdom. Oh, this cool shit. It looks so great. And then Ganondorf, you fucking take your fucking long teenage coma, and you come out of that shit, and it's like, oh shit, everything's poop. Everything's bad. Everything's all dark and brown, and like everything's on fire. Like, low key, I know I'm being a bit dramatic. I'm hyperbolizing a bit, but data centers are doing that. So we are making these things all across the fucking country to fuel this AI bullshit so that we can do what? Once again, what is the payoff? And the payoff is like, you can ChatGPT, hey, I make this weird, make Hitler in a tutu. I don't know. Like, trying to think of something on the fly. I don't know. Insert dumb thing. Make all the Spider-Mans point at each other and fart. Like, I don't know. And AI will do that. And you'll burn, a forest to make that happen. Okay, cool. But once again, are we making money off of that? And all these people are saying, I don't know. I don't think so. And that leads you to say, well, then what is this AI going to get us? What's the next big thing? And once again, we're just on a treadmill to what? Fucking nothing. Fucking nothing. But needless to say, everyone's not trying to say we're on a bubble. They're saying everything but. So, I mean, time's going to tell. But it is crazy that, once again, we are all in on this. Like, there are people's retirement funds, whether they know it or not. I'm sure some way, shape, or form, my fucking 401k or whatever is tied to this shit somehow. Where it's like, some investment group, some hedge fund, whatever, is saying, hey, yeah, we got to bet on AI. Like, we just got to. It's too big to fail. But it's like, no, this shit can fail. It doesn't matter how much the government is fucking, like, finger fucking it to keep it up and keep it going. It totally can. I mean, you can look at Bitcoin. Also, we're just on this fucking free rant news here. Bitcoin is also not doing good. We've been talking that Bitcoin did do a big fucking uptick, over this year. It was kind of really hot, really profitable, and now it's kind of come back down to earth. So, okay, so much for those gains. So, I mean, yeah, man, it's just crazy that, Silicon Valley is just not really fucking bringing it, but yet we are all in on it. Like, it's just... the whole kit, the whole caboodle is kind of in this shit, and all our eggs are in this AI basket, and leads to wonder what are we gonna get. But anyway, I know I'm going way too long on something that wasn't even a story. My bad. Let's go ahead and hit the next story that I did have from ABC News. In reversal, DOJ says Comey indictment was reviewed by full grand jury. In a reversal from what the Department of Justice represented in court, and in written filings Wednesday, federal prosecutors said Thursday the full grand jury reviewed the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey. U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan, who brought the charges, testified Wednesday that the grand jury that indicted Comey voted to indict him on 2 of the 3 counts submitted in the original indictment, but that the final revised indictment reflecting the 2 counts Comey was ultimately charged with was not reviewed by the full grand jury, only by the jury foreperson and 1 other grand juror. Comey's attorney, Michael Dreeben, argued Wednesday that the issue with the grand jury indictment clearly required the judge to throw out the case. So apparently this is like a big no-no. I don't have any acumen here, but I think this is one of those moments where technically Halligan's kind of showing her ass, or she's just saying, hey, I'm just going to try to shoot the gap here. I'm trying to make the impossible happen here. Because as we're going to, keep reading, people did not want this case. It was not a winner. But at the end of the day, Trump's like, I want this guy got. I want Comey arrested. I want this guy dead. Actually, low-key, Trump has been on that shit. He just today was like trying to say like, hey, if you're talking shit about me, Democrats, you should go to jail or die, for treason, which is crazy. I don't know. Look that up. You want to fact check me? I don't give a shit. Anyway, let me actually keep reading. The official transcript of the September 25th, 2025 proceedings before Magistrate Judge Vala, I like that name, Vala, conclusively refutes the claim and establishes that the grand jury voted on and true-billed the 2-count indictment. Prosecutors wrote in the filing. It's like, yeah, the 2, but like this was initially bundled as 3, and you said, oh, well, they don't want that. I kind of let's just go for the 2. Assistant U.S. Attorney, which is also arguable, which they are trying to say that it's like, okay, this is just a clerical error. Like, we fucked up, but it's not like we fucked up in a way that you need to throw this whole thing out, Your Honor. Assistant U.S. Attorney Tyler Lemons had also attested in court Wednesday that the full grand jury did not see the final indictment. Let me be clear that the second indictment, the operative indictment in this case that Mr. Comey faces, is a document that was never shown to the entire grand jury or presented in the grand jury room. Is that correct? U.S. District Judge Michael Nachmendorf asked. Standing here in front of you, Your Honor, yes, that is my understanding, Lemon said. Comey was indicted in September on charges of lying to Congress after Trump forced out previous U.S. Attorney Eric Siebert and installed Halligan, a White House staffer with no prosecutorial experience. I believe she worked and did like insurance law, worked with Trump, and then saw this opportunity. Because once again, Trump was like, I want this guy convicted. Like, we're firing this Eric guy. He's a loser. He's not about it. I want someone who's about it. And Halligan goes, pick me, pick me, pick me. And once again, I think she's just finding herself in a situation where it's like, I have to run and gun, and maybe I'm a bit over my head, or maybe I'm going to use that as like a bit of leverage to kind of make some things happen that shouldn't happen. And you're just going to be like, oh, okay, maybe she's just a little silly here, a little oof, a little. But either way, like, this isn't how you're supposed to do it. This is bad practice, if you will. Let me see. Let me keep reading. White House ever no prosecutorial experience, then called on Attorney General Pam Bondi to act now to prosecute Comey, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and Representative Adam Schiff. Comey has pleaded not guilty to all charges. An attorney for Comey argued during Wednesday's hearing that replacing Siebert with his former staffer and lawyer and publicly calling for his political foes to be charged, Trump was manipulating the machinery of prosecution and committing an egregious violation of bedrock constitutional values. Halligan and other DOJ officials following Wednesday's hearing leveled unusual public attacks aimed at the judge, overseeing the case by mischaracterizing comments he made Wednesday, which this is weird. Personal attacks like Judge Nachmanoff referring to me as a puppet don't change the facts or the law, Halligan said in a statement exclusively to the New York Post. Yeah, exclusively to the fucking New York Post. Fucking ooh. Yeah, that's the only rag who wants to hear and entertain this shit, by the way. I shouldn't say that, like you wouldn't hear this on CBS. Let me stop. A federal judge should be neutral and impartial. Instead, this judge launched an outrageous and unprofessional personal attack yesterday in open court against U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan. DOJ will continue to follow the facts and the law. DOJ spokesperson Chad Gilmartin said in a statement posted at X. Dude, there's so many freaks that I encounter by reading all this stuff, learning as I listen to other podcasts and stuff. There's too many names. Like, it's worse than a damn sports team. I shit you not, but I whenever I hear, I do try to commit these motherfuckers to like memory as best I can, because you know that they never age well. They only get worse. They only become freakier or say weirder fucking cringe things. And there's so many motherfuckers that say and do stuff that I don't get a chance to cover. But boy howdy, I wish I had the time to. So many freaks, so little time. The statements refer to an exchange between Judge Nachmanoff and Comey's attorney, in which Nachmanoff questioned whether their position was that Halligan was serving as a puppet or a stalking horse for President Donald Trump in his orders for retribution against Comey. It's like, dude, he's asking a question. He's not accusing that he's not saying that Halligan is this or that. He's saying, like, is that what you're saying? But Nachmanoff never asserted directly that Halligan was a puppet, and didn't dispute in court when Lemons flatly rejected that characterization. So your view is that Miss Halligan is a stalking horse or a puppet, for want of a better word, doing the president's bidding? Judge Nachmanoff asked Drebin during an exchange. Well, I don't use language about Miss Halligan that suggests anything other than she did what she was told to do, Drebin replied. The president of the United States has the authority to direct prosecutions. She worked in the White House. She was surely aware of the president's directive, which I do agree with that statement. Sure. I mean, I think this is just a person being very opportunistic and, saying, hey, I'm going to take my chance here. I'm going to run it. But yeah, clearly it doesn't seem like it's going well. But I was going to kind of sit on this and see how it was going to evolve. Apparently the judge, though, said that they were going to try to get a ruling on just this matter by before Thanksgiving. So I was like, all right, we'll cover it now this week. Next week we might have a bit of another update. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was worth talking about, worth covering. Did give me a chance to talk about the whole Trump, the sedition thing or whatever the fuck. That's also fucking crazy. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next and last beat. But yeah, before we do that, let's take our last break and then we'll go ahead and close it out. Oh, buddy. Okay. Our last story comes from Complex, Complex magazine. I don't know if you're familiar. Not usually a source I usually, not a source I usually use, but we're gonna run it for today. Neighbor charged in killing of King of the Hill star Jonathan Joss. So I know we initially covered his murder, when it happened, his passing. We've talked about Jonathan Joss, but also, famously, John Redcorn from King of the Hill, and, also other works. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and just get through. I think I want to read this whole thing because I think it's a good recap on what happened and, where we're at right now. Anyway, Jonathan Joss, best known for, excuse me. Jonathan Joss, best known for voicing John Redcorn throughout all 13 seasons of King of the Hill, is being remembered by fans and colleagues as the man at the center of a tragic shooting that has now led to his neighbor's formal charge. Joss, whose legal name was Jonathan Joss Gonzalez, also appeared in Parks and Recreation as Chief Ken Hote, I think it's Hote. We're gonna say Hote anyway. And in major films, including True Grit and The Magnificent Seven. I think it's Hotate, but anyway. Months after his death, the case surrounding the fatal shooting has taken a significant step forward. According to county records obtained by Rolling Stone, a Bexar County grand jury has indicted 57-year-old Sigfrido Sija Alvarez on one count of murder. Alvarez was initially arrested in June on a first-degree murder charge and later released on a $200,000 bond. The shooting happened on June 1st near Joss's residence in San Antonio, where he and his husband Tristan Kern de Gonzalez have been staying following a house fire that had displaced them. According to Kern de Gonzalez, the couple encountered their neighbor shortly before the incident. In a social media statement, he wrote that the man approached them, yelling homophobic slurs before opening fire. Kern de Gonzalez said Joss pushed him out of the line of fire, adding, "He saved my life." Police documents state that Alvarez fled the area in a vehicle, but later admitted to the shooting after officers located him. One of the first officers on the scene reported that Alvarez voluntarily stated, "I shot him," after being detained. Kern de Gonzalez also shared that the couple had experienced ongoing harassment in the community, claiming much of it stemmed from discrimination towards their relationship. The San Antonio Police Department addressed those reports in a statement to Rolling Stone earlier this year, noting that officers had responded to more than 70 calls for service at Joss's address, and that SAPD's mental health unit and SAFE officer remained in regular contact with the couple and neighbors over the past year. Alvarez denied any homophobic motives through his attorney, who told KSAT in June that the shooting had nothing to do with sexual orientation, and argued that his client acted in self-defense. A relative of Alvarez also disputed that the family had used slurs toward Joss. Following Joss's death, King of the Hill co-creators Mike Judge and Greg Daniels, along with Revival showrunner Saladin Patterson, honored the actor in a joint statement. Jonathan brought King of the Hill's John Redcorn to life for over a dozen seasons, including in the upcoming Revival, they wrote. His voice will be missed, and we will extend our deepest condolences to his friends and family. So I'm happy to at least be bringing an update here that, hopefully we're going to be getting closer to justice. Obviously it's a shame that, what happened to not just Joss, but also, his partner. To have to go through that kind of situation, it's already harrowing as it is. And then for it to culminate like that, and I'm not surprised that Alvarez is going to say, hey, this was a self-defense thing. But from what I've seen and what I've gathered so far, from my personal opinion in my armchair, whatever the fuck, no way, no fucking way, no how. I don't see how you're going to square that in court, but we will fucking see, I suppose. I wanted to cover that. I wanted to talk about that a little bit, just to close this out. Obviously, continued condolences there. Let's see. Was there anything else? I guess, once again, in the spirit of this episode just being so kind of random off the wall, just kind of boing to boing to boing, boing. Trump did sign the law into order about the Epstein release. And something I wanted to mention, he could have just made the DOJ do that, by the way. Like, he didn't need Congress for this. Like, the second that he got bullied back into doing it, once he tacoed on it, he could have just said, okay, DOJ, actually, fuck this shit, just release it all. This is formal, I guess. Excuse me. And you could say, okay, solidarity between, you and Congress. Okay, but you could just do what you've been doing. You could just strong arm here. You're actually allowed to. He didn't, though. Isn't that curious and curiouser? But yeah, he's trying to flip this whole narrative on, like, actually, keep this investigation going on this Epstein shit, actually, for the Democrats, because there's so many involved. There's Bill Clinton, there's Summers, there's so many. It's like, brother, you were also a friend of this guy. Like, you can say, well, you cut him off at some point when he was poaching your girls, quoting you, sir. Like, brother, you're not clean in this shit. Ain't no way, no how. You can say you weren't on the fucking, plane. You weren't on the island. Okay, bro. Okay, heard, read, like the emails. Okay, whatever, man. Leave it in the birthday book. I don't want to fucking hear it, bro. But anyway, that's it. That's all I have for today. That's the episode. Let's see here. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/ZanNews. Become a newsie today. Roll call's coming up soon, actually. That's the thing. We shout you out at the top of the month. That's a thing. I've been kind of lacking on the extra notes. It's not something that I'm committed to doing on any kind of regular interval, but like whenever I feel compelled, whenever I find the time, that's a thing that's there. Always trying to update that. Just so you know. But yeah, no, I mean it's more of a tip jar situation. But hey, being a newsie, I think it's an honor. I would hope. Hopefully if you're a newsie, you wear that with pride. You put that on your chest. I don't know, but I do love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Anyway, I'm continuing. Free ways to hit me up. isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Free ways to follow me in the social. All of that. I'm on X. I'm on, Facebook. Let's see. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Like I said, leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is always cool. It's not, that helps spread it, but hey, don't worry about it. I'm small bean. It's no big deal. 5 stars are also good and helpful on the Spotify, on the Apple. But once again, no big deal there. No need, no worries. But definitely following is good if you like what you heard. You want to keep up with it. That's useful for both of us. Yeah. But regardless, I really do just appreciate anyone who, just hangs out with me like this. This is cool to me. I love doing it every day. I look forward to it every day, night. I show up to do it. I often end happier than when I started. So that alone is worth, but knowing that like my friends, family, do listen to this from time to time or consistently daily, that's crazy. I love y'all for that. Thank you for keeping up with my Joneses. It really does mean the world to me. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.